Hey, Miami sports fans. Stop by Canesware today at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida. And check out their awesome merchandise selection of your favorite South Florida sports teams. From the Miami Dolphins, Hurricanes, Heat, Marlins, Florida Panthers, and Inter Miami, they've got it all. Celebrate your favorite team and show off your fandom with their beautiful team starter jackets, killer-looking helmets, team jerseys, cool shirts, and more. And if you are out of town or out of state, no worries. Go to caneswear.com and find everything they have on their site. Select what you want, and they will ship your gear to you. Anything over $99 is shipped for free. Don't wait. Stop at Caneswear today.
It's back. The green is running.
Bobby, sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong.
Oh, man, I was just jamming out. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Fitz Talk today on the Fitz Talk Sports Network. I'm Bobby Fitz Talk, and that's the one and only Fish Tank Hank. Fish Tank, how you doing, brother?
Hey, I'm doing great. It's another day here in sunny Florida. I'm going to go out cruising a little later today. I actually had somebody from an art gallery run me down in a restaurant. I was parked, and they were going on the highway by, and they had a yellow Corvette. So they came into the restaurant and found me to talk to me about the car. So
there you go.
It was one of the weird ones, but his name was Sergio. He's very nice man. And he owns an art gallery and all this other stuff, and he invited me to go at some point in time to visit his gallery and party. So that was very nice of him.
Look at that. That is so damn cool. And I know, first off, let me say good morning, good afternoon to everyone watching right now. I see Cat for Life, Aladino. Good morning, guys. Fins up, brothers. Appreciate you all watching. And I did see, though, on Twitter, I think earlier this week, that you might be entertaining doing another wrap on your car as well.
That's in a couple years. That's in a couple years.
Okay.
That's a couple years. I'll get this one removed. I'll probably let it stay off for a little while to make sure the paint's okay, and then rewrap it again with something. But I was coming up with ideas and different things on the AI, the Bing AI.
Yes.
And I've been just trying to come up with what I want on my car, and I've come up with some pretty cool stuff. That AI generator really does one hell of a job.
And Cap ain't lying. That car has become a staple. I mean, at the games in Miami and Fort Lauderdale, when they see that car, everybody wants to stop and take pictures. They get your attention. They know Fish Tank Hank is in town, no doubt. So good thing it is in a few years, but I think that would be pretty exciting to see as well.
Yeah. It's fun. It's fun. Like I said, the reason I did it, and people all think that I'm like crazy or something, but the reason I did it was because I didn't want the same blue Corvette that everybody else had. I didn't want the same red Corvette. I didn't want the same design. Like everybody got those colors that shift, when in the light, different light, things like that. And
you wanted something different. You wanted something for you.
I wanted something completely different. And being as I'm a Miami Dolphins fan, I went with this. And a lot of people, I run into, either they're a Dolphins fan, they know a Dolphins fan, their brother, their sister, their father, their mother, somebody that they know is a Dolphins fan, and they get as excited about it as I do. And then during the season, that just pumps me up even more. And then when we come on here, then I'm really ready to go, because we've been talking nothing but Dolphins,
That's all we, yep.
I've been going out in town and I talk Dolphins. People just talk to me about it, and I love it. So that's why I'm juiced today. I'm ready today for this show. And we did take a little bit of a hiatus for a couple of weeks, but hey, here we are.
Hey, we busted our asses on that draft and I mean, week in, week out, and in 3 days straight, 4.5 hours one day, 4.5 hours the Friday, 5.5 hours on Saturday. Not that I regret it. I don't. I love doing this. I love doing this. But, you're kind of like, okay, let me get a mind reset. And not that, first off, you're always going on the back end on Twitter and interactions and everything. I'm always going the same thing, Twitter, but also with the network and all that. But I said, hey, you know what? Got a lot of stuff going on. Let me take that week off next week. You're like, hey, no worries. Let's do it. We'll go next week. And we're here. Yep. We're ready to go. And so, oh my goodness, there's so much to freaking talk about. It's a great Lyle's great to see you, brother. Good afternoon. But
what's up?
I thought the schedule was going to get released this week. It's next week. So next week's episode, we are going to react. We're going to do our prediction. We're going to have fun with that one. But we could talk about some of the opponents. We got the opponents. We know who we're going to face. And, even though we're still waiting on June 1st, we're still waiting for the dust to settle on the final rosters and all that, we could kind of have fun with some of the guys, some of these teams. But we're going to talk about OBJ. $3 million contract. I think it was 2.1, I think was the final number. I think it was 1 year, 2.1. And, of course, incentives up to 8. Stephen Ross, he entertains an offer for the Dolphins. We're going to touch on that. And then what's going to happen after June 1st? What is going to happen after June 1st? The Dolphins, going into this offseason, Fish Tank.
Yes, sir.
We saw how the cap situation looked. We know after the season, as hyped as we were going into the playoffs, being the number one offense in football, the defense was teetering on top 10. But to finish the way we did, we know that gut in our feeling, we were like, God dang, dude, how the heck are we going to come out of this offseason feeling better than how we feel right now? Because it was a big letdown. We knew the holes on this roster. We knew the guys that were coming up on contracts, Christian Wilkins, Van Ginkel, etc. They all left. And despite that, the way, at least how I feel, and you could tell me, hey, Bobby, I disagree, whatever. But with all that going down, for Miami to come out as they have and to address free agency as they have, to get the depth that they were able to acquire. And then for me, last year, Fish Tank, you and I, we basically talked ourselves into liking the draft, our draft class. HN ended up obviously proving that he was worth that pick. Cam Smith was still a head scratcher. We don't know what's going to happen with that. But this draft, I didn't feel myself talking myself into it. I understood it. I saw the vision. I'm excited for every pick. And I feel it was a very solid draft. I feel pretty damn good for this Miami Dolphins team going into this season. But it's not done. We still have June 1st. We still have that money coming on the books. And I cannot wait to see what they do with that. A guard, a safety, what another linebacker, who knows? Or they just say, hey, let's hold on to that money and see if there's any falling acorns, as Jeff Ireland would say, an acorn after preseason. During the regular season, somebody falls off from another team, you pick him up, and he's a solid contributor, i.e. Chad Pennington years ago when we were supposed to start the season with Josh McCown. The Jets cut Chad Pennington for Brett Favre. We pick up Chad Pennington. They missed the playoffs. We made the playoffs. So much to talk about. First, well, let me ask you this. How have you felt so far about this Miami Dolphins offseason and the draft a couple weeks later?
All right. This has been a little bit of a roller coaster for me, I went and looked at I've been reading a lot about the Miami Dolphins picks. And what I read that I didn't realize was the positional value of some of the players that Miami got along the way. I didn't realize how good of a pickup Kamara was until I read up more and more. And it's almost like he was our biggest steal in the draft, to be honest with you, after I read up more on him and started to learn more. So because I don't watch the college players. Like I tell you, I just mainly do research before the draft, and because I want to know who's coming in, who we might get, and things like that, and what they can and can't do. Well, there were some players in the later draft that I wasn't familiar with, and Kamara was one of them. And I was just like, wow, let me check this out. Let me see what's going on. And the more that I read, the better the Dolphins have done in this draft and so far during this offseason. So I'm pretty happy. After the draft, I thought we did like a C. But now when I look back and look at everything that's going on, I give us a B now at this point in time in the offseason.
That's fair.
And the reason I give us a B is because we haven't addressed the OG. We haven't addressed the safety. We have, there's a few positions we just haven't addressed that we all think we should have addressed by now, or to some degree or whatever. Some people were scratching their head because we got a running back, but look at that backfield. Look at that backfield. I mean, spread those guys out wide with the receivers and see what kind of results you get. We have the fastest wide receivers. We have the fastest running backs. Tight end's not too bad. A little older, but hey, I think Miami's done a pretty good job. Now, can we make the holes for the running backs? Can we protect the quarterback? Are we able to do these things? And that's where I'm waiting to see what's going on. You know what I mean, Bobby?
I hear you.
And until I see something on the field, in other words, until we really see preseason for the most part, we're not going to know how this all pans out. And post June 1st, I really think we're going to go after, like you said, probably a linebacker and an offensive guard. So, because that's about all we're missing as far as what we have to have that we haven't really filled with Robert Hunt, the absence of Robert Hunt and Christian Wilkins. We haven't really filled his spot, sort of say, but we have brought in depth on the defensive line. We brought a lot of depth in. Now, have we brought in a killer like Christian Wilkins? I don't think we have yet, but we brought in viable backups, which is the most important thing from last year. We needed viable backups. We had nobody.
Well, and that is, first off, that's absolutely fair. I don't think, I'm with you. You said a C at the beginning, but changed it to a B after kind of looking it over. I'm at the C plus for those reasons. Again, and then that's not a C plus is not like, oh, that's no, a C plus is good. I think it's a solid grade, and I think it's a solid draft that they've had because I understand the vision of it. Now the right guard spot, they need to figure that out. You're going in with Driscoll and Liam Eichenberg right now. Who's that starter? It's probably going to be Eichenberg. And then, does that make anybody comfortable? No. So, but the thing is, we do have that money coming in June 1st. There are still some solid guards that are available, and who knows who falls off certain rosters in preseason. Again, bring up Chad Pennington. We bring up that Acorns metaphor by Jeff Ireland. You kind of wait and see what happens around the league. This guy drops off this roster. Okay, we're going to snag him. There's our plug-and-play starter for right guard. We still have to allow things to kind of play out. However, like you said, right guard, safety, even though I know they got Jordan Poyer, they got Javon Holland, they still need that third safety. It was the Dolphins came in with a third safety last year. Even though they brought in Jordan Poyer with Javon Holland, they were still trying to bring back Deshaun Elliott. They want that third safety. So they did draft. Go ahead.
They're moving somebody to safety.
Nick Needham, I think, is the one there.
Was it Nick Needham?
I think there was a report that Nick Needham is practicing at safety.
Yeah.
But and again, Nick Needham, talented corner, versatility, can do it all back there. And he's been a solid player. So that could be what it is. What's up, California? Great to see you, brother. And Pretty Boy, see you in there as well. Thank you for tuning in. We'll get to your comments as well. We are going to touch on that, obviously, about Tua's extension later on. And of course, be happy to obviously talk about your comments and respond to them. But before that, and then you talk about defensive line.
Before that, there's going to be a party.
That's right.
No.
Not that type of party, not live. Zach Sealer. Look, people got to give credit to Zach Sealer. Zach Sealer is still a very solid D tackle. I mean, he had kind of equal numbers to what Christian Wilkins was and is and was great with him. And then the other guys you have now next to Sealer, yeah, in a perfect world, they're not your starters, but they're very good rotational players. You got Zach Sealer, and you got this rotation of D tackles coming in and out to kind of play around with that defense. And then you got Chop Robinson, the rookie, with Jalen Phillips eventually coming back. You got the yes, right, right there, or wait, over here, the last real quarterback that we've had. And of course, Marvin Kamara. Goodness, I'm butchering his name, am I? Kamara. Listen, that production, when you put Kamara's production with Chop Robinson's skill, you got a very good edge rusher. But I think those two guys, people are going to be shocked when they see these two kids on the field. I'm very excited to see them, but that's going to help your interior defensive line. And when your defensive line is strong, that's going to help your secondary. Those guys are going to eat. Those guys are going to take advantage of what our D-line looks like. And don't forget, even though we did lose Jerome Baker, and I know Jerome Baker gets a lot of flack, he was a solid linebacker for us. He wasn't perfect, but he was solid. We're going to miss him. But our linebacker core has gotten better, and I'm very excited about seeing what they can do. But of course, after June 1st, we'll see how it kind of plays out. I think Reisner could be the guy at right guard once that money falls off. Or maybe, I thought Lakeland Thomason could be one of the other guy, but he moved on already. But I'm still wait and see mode. I don't think it's the end of the world. People are already kind of freaking out. Oh, we didn't get this. We didn't get that. We didn't get it. Let it play out. If the season starts, Fish Tank, preseason comes and goes, and we're at week 1, you and I are going to say, God dang, that right guard spot's scaring me, dude. What's going to happen at that spot? Because Robert Hunt, can't undersell his impact on that offensive line. And Connor Williams, center. We got Aaron Brewer. Okay. Pass blocking is running blocking is better, but he's not the best. Connor Williams was top 10, top 5 in his position, despite people talking about it, the snaps, which was more of a miscommunication issue compared to just one person. I want to see what happens with that. That's the question mark. If we can bring back Connor Williams, that'd be great. You still there with me, Fish Tank?
I'm here.
All right. Looked like your camera went out, but that's okay.
I was just taking a second.
Oh, I got you. All right. So as we move on here, and Hammer Time, great to see you, my man. Fins up.
Hammer Time.
I thought, again, the schedule was going to be released, but it hasn't. But we do know who our opponents are, so we're going to kind of touch on those very quick. And then we'll move on to Odell Beckham and what his impact could be for the Miami Dolphins.
I love it.
Oh, Will, what's up, brother? Will be on with me and Alex on Wednesday night for Everything Miami on East 10th Street Boys. Will of 305 Sports Now. Guys, if you haven't yet, go check out 305 Sports Now on YouTube. Covers everything from Everything Miami, Inter Miami, Miami Hurricanes, Dolphins, Heat, all of the above. This dude is amazing. Great dude, great friend of the network. All right, Fish Tank. This is what I kind of want to do. Once we get the official schedule, we see how it kind of plays out. You and I are better at kind of seeing how it goes week to week to make those type of predictions. But what we're going to do here, I'm going to read off the home teams and the away teams we're going to face this season. And all I want from you don't have to give a prediction. What I would love from you is just cause for pause, or I feel good about that one. Does that mean like we did last year?
Yeah, I'm on it.
All right. So let's go home. Let's go with the home teams. And, of course, again, once we see the schedule, after the bye week, primetime games, then we go, okay, I felt good about this team going against the team, but at this time, that's a tough sell. It happens. We've seen it year after year, and Fish Tank and I do that every year. We kind of see how it plays out. But let's do go ahead.
You know what, Bobby? I read earlier that we have, based on our opponents, the 8th easiest schedule. That's right now, before the schedule comes out and it gives us our road games and we're going here or there or whatever, they say that we have the 8th easiest.
There you go. Hey, well, let's go by. Let's take a look at this. We don't have the schedule, guys. These are our opponents, so we'll get the schedule released next week, I think Thursday night, and then Fish Tank and I will react to that on Saturday. But here we go. Arizona Cardinals at home in Miami.
Arizona Cardinals.
You feel good about it?
I feel good about it at home. You're reading what I was reading.
Yeah, you're reading California's comment, I think. Yeah, I want to read that. We're gonna get to that right after this, California. I will be happy. We'll be happy to answer that. I feel good about that right now. I feel good about right now. Again, we'll wait as preseason goes through and whatever, last signings. But Arizona Cardinals, they've improved. I mean, Kyler Murray's no joke. Marvin Harrison Jr., one of the top players in the draft. We'll see how they play out. But right now, I feel good, especially in Miami. We'll see where it plays out. Now, Buffalo Bills. Where do you I'll say this. This is how I'll just say this. We always have issues with them. We had issues with them last year, obviously. So out of that, I think they've gotten worse, or they've taken a step back. But still, out of kind of like the respect of what they've done the last few years with us, caused a pause. That's what I'll say with Buffalo for that one. It's at home, but caused a pause.
I'm a firm believer in my team. And Buffalo Bills at home, I just think Miami's got too much. They got too much under the hood for their defense. They lost players on defense that they didn't really make up. And now Miami's got, a Ferrari waiting in the backfield, Ferrari waiting out at wide receivers, and you just let all that go at the same time, forget about it. It's going to be nutty. It's going to be nutty. It depends on
– I will say this. I'll say, I know I said why I think it's caused a pause, but I think I'm with you if it depends on when the game is. If that home game is earlier in the season, I feel pretty good.
Yeah.
If that game's later in the season, I might feel that caused to pause on that game. Does that make sense?
All right. Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah.
Because we're healthy, we're ready to go, we're on fire.
Go that way, being a coward and all.
Okay. Oh, kiss my ass. Okay, so you had to go there, you prick. We'll do this every year. I'm the downer, he's the high one. No pun intended.
I'm the unrealistic one.
That's right. Yes, we're back at it, folks. I'm realistic. He's unrealistic. Let's get it going. All right, Jacksonville. Cause the pause, or you feel good? Home. These are the home teams.
I feel good. But I think that this is going to be a tougher game than people realize. But I still feel good.
Yeah, you know what? I did too. No joke about Jacksonville. Jacksonville is on the ups. They're a talented squad. Trevor Lawrence, etc. Doug Peterson at coach. It will be a fun game, but I'm not. I think we get that game. I'm not worried about it. I feel good. And again, is it prime time? That matters. It matters. The Las Vegas Raiders. Cause the pause. You feel good?
I feel good.
I feel good. Who's their quarterback? I don't know. I don't. Not good. Antonio Pierce. I'm excited for him. He has that opportunity. The Raiders are no joke. We know that, but I'm not concerned.
Yeah, Washington's looking like they've done quite a bit. I was seeing what Pretty Boy was saying. They've done quite a bit.
Oh gosh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Washington is that's going to be a fun team to watch this year. It really is, with Jaden Daniels and company. Let's see. All right. So the next two teams, I'll just say it like this: Fish Tank. Let's go first. New England Patriots at home in Miami. Cause the pause. You feel good?
Feel good.
I feel good too. I don't know. I don't think they. I think they had a good draft. I was impressed with their draft. I wouldn't like Drake May pick. I'm not comfortable with that pick at all. But I'm just glad they took him. I know a lot of people are like, I hope they don't take him against I don't care. I'm happy they took him. I'm not sold on Drake May. Not that he's bad. He has talent, but I just left. I wasn't thinking he was that type of pick that early. But I feel good about that. We handled them last year. I don't see them improved really. We're gonna handle them again. The Jets. I say this will matter depending on what part of the season. If we're playing them at home early on or whatever, I guess that depends. I know we always kind of split it. I feel good. Even with Aaron Rodgers, I do feel good. Again, if it's earlier in the season and Jalen Phillips is in there, but Bradley Chubb is out, maybe then we have a conversation. We'll see as the season goes on. But right now, home or away, I feel good. What say you? Cause to pause or no?
They're actually my biggest concern in the division this year is the Jets. So I actually think they're going to be a better team than the Bills this year.
Yeah.
Wow. Yes. So I have cause for pause with the Jets. I just think that they have an offense that can work really good against our defense and our secondary. I just think that they have the people to do it. Their defense is really stacked. I mean, it's just stacked. And, getting after the quarterback, forget about it. They'll be able to get after the quarterback this year. I think that they're more of a threat than the Buffalo Bills.
I think that's fair. And it really, it really depends for them now more than ever, the health of their quarterback. But I think you're absolutely right. Pretty boy, thank you, man. I apologize that I misread that. So, but no, Malik Washington, Taj Washington, our running backs in the backfield, you're absolutely right. I'm excited to see what those guys can do. I feel, people were going back and forth on our receiver room before the draft. Oh, we don't need OBJ and we have Tyreek and Jalen. Why are we going to draft receiver in the first round? Blah, blah, blah. Miami we didn't really have the depth behind Tyreek and Jalen. Now coming out of this draft, now, especially with the OBJ signing, holy crap. This room is legit solid. I mean, you come out, a lot of people saying Malik Washington, we know is a very solid player. 305 Sports Now, Will has talked about how he's torched the Miami Hurricanes year after in Virginia. A lot of people though are saying that Taj Washington is the steal in the 7th round for the NFL draft. So Miami comes out of this with one of the strongest wide receiver rooms in the NFL. Then that running back room. Let me tell you something. More and more I watch this guy, the kid we got in out of Tennessee, Jalen Wright. I have to say that because I'm hard with my R's. Jalen Wright or the W's is that the more I see him, and then when I hear him, he sounds hungry. He sounds eager to tear up this league when he gets an opportunity. I cannot wait to see him, Raheem, and Devon Aitchen together.
He's already ready to run.
Oh, he is off the. I cannot wait. Bones.
How, what's his name? Does the scepter and all that?
Henry
on Good Morning Football.
Who's that?
Kyle Brandt.
There you go.
The scepter of power for the power running back. I think that he's going to be on that list.
Ooh, okay. There you go.
There's my early prediction for you. Okay.
There you go. Bones, great to see you, brother. Thank you for tuning in. Craig, great to see you as well.
My bad, pretty boy. But if you look at Washington, they've done a great job too.
Yeah. No, I won't take away from that. We misread that one, but no.
I totally misread it. My bad.
Yeah, that's all right. When we're going live here, that's what's great about live. The live show. We just go along with it. I'm glad you corrected us. You're just like, okay, I'll just let that one go. No, let us know that this is what we're talking about. We're gonna read it.
Let us know when we're boneheads. Let us know.
Yeah, San Francisco 49ers. That's the next one at home. That's going to be a tough one. I'm going to say cause to pause. We'll see where it lands. Might be a prime time game, no joke, which I'll say cause to pause. Do you agree?
I totally agree on that one. Totally agree. I mean, it's like he's facing himself. You know what I mean? The only difference is their team is slightly better as far as talent goes than our team right now. So that's why I have cause to pause.
Next one there is the Tennessee Titans. That's the last team that I have here at home. Again, you said it last year. You called it before the season. And again, that's why it matters. Because if they were it was a primetime game. And you said, Bobby, I'm going to predict the loss there. And I was like, whoa. And you said, look, it's primetime. They'll struggle. It's at this point of the season. Now, if this was at home, not at home, but it was a regular game during the day and whatever, I could see you saying, no, we're going to win that. It's at home. It's this. But you picked a loss. We have to wait how this plays out. Right now, I would say I feel good about this game. But it's going to matter where it is on the schedule. What say you?
Well, where's Derrick Henry right now?
Baltimore.
I don't have any cause to pause on this one. Miami's biggest Achilles heel was stopping the running game like always. That's where I have concerns about Chop Robinson because he's known to not be that good against the run. However, his overall base of play outweighs that one minor concern. You know what I mean, Bobby?
Yeah.
His overall play will be fine, and I think the way that they run the defense, it's going to make a complete difference this year compared to last year getting after the quarterback. That was all I had, Bobby.
Absolutely.
No, but this year I warned you already, though. Who did I warn you about? The Jets.
Yes.
Don't forget. Jets. Caution. I told everybody Tennessee Titans. Nobody listened to me last year. Okay, I'm telling you this year. Watch out for the Jets.
That's right. There you go. And we won't go to the AFC East teams for the away games because we've already kind of touched on both sides of that. So we'll just stick with the other teams. The good thing is we aren't facing Baltimore this year. Baltimore is always kind of an Achilles heel for Miami. We're not facing them. So that's big news, I believe. Cleveland Browns away. We face them in Cleveland, Fish Tank. Does that game give you cause to pause?
No. At first I thought there would be, and I thought about who they have playing, and they have Watsuck back there. So
I will say, I'll tell you why I have some cause to pause. What they were able to do last year, one of the top defenses. I think they were the top defense in football. They got Amari Cooper. They got Jerry Jeudy now. Even without Deshaun Watson, who was in and out of the lineup and out at the end, they still were one of the strongest teams in football. Not saying Miami can't, but I'll say right now, as of now, without seeing the schedule, that one gives me cause to pause. Gives me time to go, okay, we'll see where this is at. Green Bay Packers, one of the surprise teams last year. Jordan Love really showed out after replacing Aaron Rodgers. I mean, this damn Packers team, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, and now Jordan Love. It's in Green Bay, Lambeau Field. They've gotten better. They had a solid draft. I would say that one would give me cause to pause, but it really depends on when and how. Is it in December? Is it in the cold? Is it at night? If it's a regular scheduled game, I think we have a stronger chance. What say you?
I'm going to have to go the opposite direction with this one.
You feel good about it?
I don't see. I think this is going to be a down year for Jordan Love. I don't think he's going to come out and perform as good as he did last year, and I think that's going to hurt Green Bay. And because of that, I have no cause to pause.
There you go. Fair enough. Now I'm going to let you start with this one. I won't say nothing. I'll follow up with you. Houston Texans.
Houston Texans. Of course you did start that one.
That's right. Yeah, I'm going to let you. I'm not going to throw any lobs. You go ahead and tell me what you think of this one. The Houston Texans.
Okay, the Houston Texans, second-year quarterback versus our defense and our secondary. They have a really good wide receiver room too. So I have cause to pause on this one. There
you go. All right, there you go. You know what? I'm not going to do you. I'm gonna be right there with you. I'm not going to leave you high and dry like you just did me. I'm going to say I'm going to agree with you. Cause the pause. That defense is solid. Stephon Diggs is now in that receiver room, and that receiver room was already solid. What they've done in the backfield as well with C.J. Stroud going into his second year. I mean, what DeMarco Ryans was able to do. I think it'll be a fun game, but I agree with Will in the comments. Houston is going to be a problem. They're going to be a problem for the NFL, but it's going to be fun. Finstanza's in the house. He just popped in the comments. What's up?
He is.
There you are.
There he
is. The mystery man.
For like 3 weeks. I didn't know what was going on.
Finstanza's in the house. Great to see you, brother. Diggs and Dell. I mean, Houston right now, again, it really just I did say DeMarco. Look, don't start. Well, whatever, D'Amico, whatever. Don't come in the comments and start doing that. Don't do that. You should stop what you're doing. All right. Anyway, but no, yeah, cause to pause. The Colts in Indianapolis, Fish Tank. I feel good about that one. Do you?
Richardson, that's who they have.
Yeah, he's coming off an injury, but I don't know. I'm with you. That's the first one I thought of. That one, I liked him coming out of the draft. I feel he's gonna have a very solid career, and I think they're a decent team. But I'm not feeling like, I'm not saying like if we lost, okay, that would happen again. But I feel that's a win.
No, yeah, I don't. I'm right there with you. And I didn't leave you hanging on the other one. You just made a bad choice. I just wanted to be clear on that.
Hey, you're on a roll today, aren't you? All right. Damn.
Hey, don't worry. It's buttered. So
home run.
Slip.
That's right.
Buttered roll.
Hey, the Rams, the Los Angeles Rams in LA. Matt Stafford is healthy. Again, just depends on when this is going to be played. But they lost Aaron Donald. But they got two of my favorite players in the draft with Braden Fisk and Jared Verse. You got Cooper Kupp coming back. Puka is going to be, of course, there.
There's cause for pause.
There's a cause for pause on that game, brother, for sure. And they drafted my top-rated running back, Blake Corum, out of Michigan. So I'm with you. I think that's a cause to pause game. Not worried about the Patriots and Jets. We already talked on that. Seattle Seahawks. Seattle is always a tough place to play, but I would say I feel good. Depends on when and what time we play, but right now I feel good.
And who's their quarterback?
Right now it's Geno Smith, but who did they traded for someone? Was it not Kenny Pickett? Was it Kenny Pickett or Sam Howell? I think Sam Howell.
Yeah.
From what? But they got it's Geno Smith who revived his career with Pete Carroll and company. Of course, now they have a new coach.
Wow.
It's crazy to think Pete Carroll's not there.
Nah, I don't have cause to pause.
Yeah, I don't have cause to pause, but man, Pete Carroll, he's still a part of that order, but he's one of my favorite coaches, dude. I'm disappointed he won't be there no more. He's one of my favorite coaches.
I like him too.
For sure. So there you go. We'll discuss more as the schedule gets released. We'll have a clear picture and how it goes, but those are our cause to pause or what we feel good about currently without seeing everything. Pretty boy, you're absolutely right, brother. No, everyone has a right to an opinion. I don't believe in what's that called? What's that? Fan gate or whatever, gatekeeping fans. Hank and I disagree all the time, a lot of the times. And it's true, right, Fish Tank? And everyone here, you have a right to voice your opinion, whether we agree or disagree. We could have a lively debate, respectable debate too. So I'm glad you found us, my man. Subscribe and hey, do me a favor, share it to your friends and your family, as our friend Steve Malloy would say, share it to everyone. Let them know that we're here. We appreciate you. What's up, Luther? Great to see you, brother. All right, so let's go ahead and move on here, Fish Tank. Odell Beckham. There was a lot of noise before the draft about signing him. He wanted a lot of money. Supposedly, we had a lot of our castmates on the network who did not want it. Understandably, we didn't want to give $50 million to anybody. But Chris Greer, respect to him, he won the basically the game of chicken. He said, hey, go look elsewhere. Go see what you want to do. See if someone will pay you that money. If not, our contract is here. He did that with Christian Wilkins too. Christian Wilkins got monster money. We'll miss you. OBJ said, you know what? I want to play for the Dolphins. And they said, okay, let's do you this one. This is the amount. I found it was released. I think it was $2.1 million for 1 year. But if you hit a certain amount of games or a certain amount of stats or whatever, you could get up to $8 million. I'm going to be honest with you. OBJ as your number 3 receiver at that amount of money is a win for the Dolphins. Your wide receiver room going into this season, everyone healthy, however it plays out, is way better than what our receiver room last year looked. Imagine Fish Tank 5 years ago, 2 years, 3 years, whatever. Tyreek, OBJ, Jalen Waddle as your top 3 receivers. You look at what OBJ was able to do with Baltimore last year, but look what take away from Baltimore. Look what he did in a similar system with the Los Angeles Rams with Sean McVay, what he was able to do with that team when he went there to pair up with Cooper Kupp and company. I think he's going to have a solid year. I'm excited. This is a Mike McDaniel move. Most of these picks and signings are. How are you feeling about this deal and OBJ as your third wide receiver?
So you consider this a win then? With
signing
OBJ? Yeah.
With this amount of money, yes.
I consider it a freaking landslide win. All right?
Okay.
Number 3 wide receiver. Yes, some of his talents are going to be slightly reduced. We got that. He's not 28. He's 31. Okay. We got you out there, folks. We totally understand that. However, he's the number 3 wide receiver, and we just picked up Taj, Washington, the 2 Washingtons. I'll just say it that way, Malik and Taj. We picked them up, and, you know, being in that wide receiver room with Tyreek Hill, with OBJ, with Jalen Waddle, those young guys are going to learn a lot real fast. And that's where I'm really excited, because we're going to have that depth at wide receiver of having slot wide receivers ready at the call if somebody goes down. So I'm happy about where it's at. I love the Odell pickup. I think it was a great pickup, especially we did it for peanuts. It was peanuts they're paying him.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to address this one from Pretty Boy. The only thing that scares me about OBJ is him being a bad influence with Tyreek Hill. This can't become a party house. I understand that. That's where our coach comes in. Daniel Solona in the house. Man, great to see you, brother. Thank you for tuning in, my man. So good to see you. Can't wait to have you back on one of the shows. Solona is awesome. His takes, he's with Battered Heron podcast, the Battered Heat podcast. Awesome dude. So for me, I would say this. That would be an issue if, first off, the money was a lot more. Since it's 2.1, if he becomes an issue, you cut him, no problem. No issue. Okay? It's different with Tyreek. Tyreek has a lot of money in the books. You got to learn to work it out until you can move on. Where it's Odell Beckham, if he becomes an issue, you cut him. That's it. It is what it is. You know, you don't want to do that, but you got to do what you got to do. I would say, though, too, that when this type of situation, we know Mike McDaniel has his fingerprints all over this. The only reason why Chris Greer was like, okay, we need to go get him. We want to get him. You know, let's go ahead and target. We've had all these discussions. They finally bring him in. This has Mike McDaniel written all over him. So I put the onus on Mike McDaniel. If it becomes an issue where the locker room blows up, whatever, or OBJ has an issue with Tyreek, and we have some sort of drama that takes over the locker room, I'm looking only at Mike McDaniel, because I believe this is a Mike McDaniel call. So it's on him, and especially as the head coach. The reason why OBJ wants to come to Miami, obviously, he sees the talent, but we know the relationships that Coach McDaniel has built with players around the league. We know that's why players want to come here. They love this coach. They're excited about this coach. They want to be under this coach. But it's very nice being the good guy. But when it comes time being the hard ass and the bad guy, that's when it's going to matter. So let's hope our coach is ready for that situation. Let's hope these guys are respect our coach enough to bring the best the best talent on the field, be their best selves on the field, but also be their best selves in the locker room for the younger guys. So I understand your concern, but at the same time, 2.1 million, cut bait if it becomes an issue. If not, then I'm looking. Go ahead.
You know what a lot of people leave out, Bobby? Not to interrupt you. I apologize.
You're good, brother.
They leave out the fact that these two, above all else, want to win.
100%.
They both want to win a Super Bowl. They've done it before. They want to do it again in Miami. That's why OBJ's there. That's why Tyreek Hill's there. That's why a lot of these players are coming to Miami now, is because they see that it seems to just be missing every year when I'm predicting 28 wins and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, 28 wins. That's right. I go 10 wins. They're like, Bobby, you're a hater. I'm going with
90
wins.
touchdowns, but 90 touchdowns by the tight ends.
That's right. Yeah, we're gonna wait for the crazy one this year. We're gonna 50 sacks for Chop Robinson. What? No, it's like, so
hey, you got to have one in there somewhere.
100%. Stephen Ross. Reports were a couple weeks ago that the Dolphins owner entertained an offer of $10 billion to sell the Dolphins, Hard Rock Stadium, and the F1 Miami F1 race to some kind of, I don't know, some stock guy or whatever. I don't remember the name or whatever, but he rejected that offer. He wants to keep the assets, but he also wants to keep the team in his family, and eventually, after he passes, give it to his daughter, Jennifer Ross. Are you happy? What are your thoughts? Are you happy Ross kept the team, or would you have loved to see him sell it?
I'm happy to have any owner that's willing to open his pocketbook without question and wants the team to do nothing but win. Now, has he hired the right people yet? We're about to find out.
Good point.
This is the last year, in my opinion, for Greer and company. They've got to win this year. This year has to be a winning year. And I don't mean get to the playoffs. I mean they have to go in strong. They have to go in with like a 12-5 or 13-4. Or, you know, they have to be going in moving upward, not doing this, which we're doing every year. Oh, come on, stop the fall, stop. You know, the fall doesn't stop. We smack into the ground, you know what I mean? And it hurts. But this is the year. I mean, Greer has had everything on a silver platter so far handed to him where he can make any decision he wants. This has got to be it. He's got to get the right talent in the right positions, especially that offensive line. He's got to do it post June 1. He has to. It's time. It's overdue.
I 100% agree with you. I know, and that's why people have an issue with Ross. You know, people go, I wish Ross would sell the team. Until Ross sells the team, Dolphins won't be anything. First of all, it's the people he's put in place. He hasn't made the right decisions to put the right people in place. But you've looked, and Hank, you obviously I can speak to this because I've been down there. My family lives there. I've seen the growth of that organization and the stadium and everything. You go there week to week during the season. I mean, what he has done, and all that is the money from his pocket, not taxpayers, not the taxpayers, his money. What he's been able to do to grow not only the team, but also the stadium, the city, the money he's brought in. He's done one hell of a job. My goodness, that dude, to give up $10 billion to say, no, thank you, to sell that team because he wants to keep the team. He wants to pass it off in his family to his daughter, Jennifer, and whatever. That speaks volumes to me. We know all he wants to do is win. He's in every draft. He's on the phone with the rookies. He's involved. Okay. That's a guy that I'm okay with. There's things that piss me off. You know, again, the people he has in place. We'll see what happens this year. Maybe his trust and an investment in Chris Greer pays off. Maybe this is the year that we all say, holy crap, this is what we've been waiting for. But it's not to say he hasn't tried. So I'm happy he didn't sell it to some guy who just thinks this is an investment. You know, the guy, and I don't know who it was or whatever, but I was reading that this guy has a bunch of investments. I'm not interested in that. I want a guy who loves the team, who wants the team to win, who doesn't just put asses in seats, but also to get the best product on the field. I mean, gosh, we could have an owner like the Marlins and sell all the best players and just put, you use the taxpayers' money. You had no issue getting the taxpayers' money to build a stadium, but put a shit product on the field. Sorry, a crap product on the field with the Miami Marlins. But here's an owner and Stephen Ross who, yes, he did check, because why the hell wouldn't you? The best is to say, hey, are you willing to pay for a stadium? No. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to move the team to another city or state. I'm going to go put my own money, millions and billions of dollars into investing into this team, investing into the stadium, investing into this roster and our front office to put best product, not the best visuals with the stadium and everything, which is beautiful, the Dolphins Stadium, Hard Rock, but also try to put the best product on the field. And he's done that. So I'm grateful for that. I'm with you with the people he's put in place, but it's not without trying. So I'm glad he didn't sell it. Unless he was selling it to someone like whatever owner we could think of that we all kind of like, and we're like, oh, dude, I'm happy with him as owner. I'm happy that he's there. I'm happy he kept it in place. I mean, $10 billion he gave up to keep the team. I'm cool with it. Unless you're going to get an Al Davis, who was a diehard fan of the team, or like a Jerry Jones, but not as a general manager I'm talking about, but someone who's like heavily invested, he's just as invested. He doesn't have that type of personality, but he is just as invested as those guys on getting the best product on the field.
And he's also really good at letting people do their job.
100%. He doesn't interfere as much.
He lets it happen. But,
absolutely.
He does
100%.
jump in there. Look at the Tom Brady thing.
Hey, again, it's his money. It's his money. If he's sitting there, and we're going to touch on the Tua and his extension. If you're sitting there and you're investing all this money and you drafted, and it doesn't turn out, you go, okay, what's the quickest way to get me a Super Bowl? Okay, get the best quarterback in football at that time, who's retired, who I haven't seen the roast. I saw clips. I'm going to watch it. It's a murder. I know it was a crime. But I understand it. But at the same time, he wanted Lamar, didn't do it, whatever. But he does let the guys do this job. What I respect is that what would bother me more if he was told he was in New York City and he just said, Chris Greer, run the team. He's not in the phone. It's like, okay, you're letting Chris Greer run this team in the ground. I'm not saying that he is or whatever. I'm just using an example. And you're there in New York, you're not really giving a damn. Where are you? Just sell a team if you don't give a damn. He gives a damn. Let's be thankful we have an owner who gives a damn. You could have an owner like the Miami Marlins.
There are plenty of owners that
they went to the playoffs last year. They fired their general manager. Their coach is going to leave next year. They traded their best player. They're putting shit product on the field with a beautiful stadium. And I'm talking about the Marlins now, Fish Tank. That's ridiculous. Be grateful we're not the Miami Marlins. We're the Miami Dolphins. We got the talent. We just have to execute, and we'll get there. All right. So, moving on.
As you digress.
As I did there. What's up, MDC? Great to see you, my man.
Hey, MDC, fins up.
Pretty boy. Let me get up to his comment earlier. Where this is what we're going to talk about. Tua's extension. Reports are the Miami Dolphins have got the ball rolling, Fish Tank, on a big time extension for Tua, which will make him one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL. Okay. We've talked about this. We know this is a foregone conclusion. They're going to give him the money, or they're going to extend him. We wait to see what the incentives are, if there's any kind of options, etc., in case something, God forbid, he gets hurt, whatever. But with this news that they could make him the highest paid player, one of the highest paid players at his position, how are you feeling about this?
I think it's a good move because when they do contracts, their contracts are really for 2 years. And there's nobody spectacular that I know of that's coming out in next year's draft that's going to be sitting there when Miami's drafting. Okay. So that's the first part of it. What do we have to look for in the future that's better than Tua? Right now, nothing. And that's the way it is. So offer him the contract, make it 2-year friendly where you can get in or out of it however you want to. And then if he doesn't perform, then in the following year, you go after another quarterback. But you also fire everybody and bring in a new staff.
100%. Look, in regards to the quarter of Tua's extension, like I said, it's going to happen. You got to, you go, oh, I wouldn't give Tua all that money. Problem is, do you think Tua is, whether you like or dislike Tua, is Tua a better quarterback than Daniel Jones?
Yeah.
Yes. What kind of contract did Daniel Jones get? 40-some odd million.
Yeah.
So Tua's going to get 50-something million. It's just whether you like him as the franchise quarterback or you don't, the way he plays, the way he has played, especially, and I know Craig, Pretty Boy brought it up earlier with the November, December games. We know that. We've acknowledged that. Miami as a team, also too as our leading quarterback, has to do better in those games when it matters. But at the same time, there is no one else right now. And Tua, for what he's done, he's been an MVP candidate halfway through the year, 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
You got to show him the money. Now, they did the same thing with Tannehill years ago. They signed him to a big-time deal because, again, what he was able to do in the years that he was here. And there were people questioning, too. And, again, it didn't work out. What they did they have to keep him for that whole contract? No. They traded him 2 seasons. And, now, and that's the other question. Do you think Tua is better than Tannehill? And I'm not disrespecting Tannehill, but truth is Tua better than Tannehill? Yes.
Yes.
Talent-wise or whatever, the skill, yes. So that money, whether you think he's owed it or not, or you're like, oh, God, $50 million, it just goes with his position and it goes with the type of player that he is. But Pretty Boy's not wrong. If Tua's shown that money, he has to show that he has to go through November and December. We all know that. That's not just on him. That's on the team. The team has to show up. And again, even if they make that, they do that deal, which I would not be surprised, and it won't be the end of the world. Makes sense. Yeah. Take care of your players. You make that deal, doesn't mean you're locked in for 7 years. You made a commitment, but also after 2 seasons, you can say, hey, you know what, Tua, the past 2 seasons, you've crapped the bed at the end of the year. If that's the case, let's just say, it doesn't work out or he struggles, or let's say he's injured 2 seasons, we got to move on. You can move on from that deal. It's what happens. Do I think Tua should get that deal, or they should offer? Yes, 100%. Get the deal done. It's going to free up money for us, for the Dolphins. It's going to free up money. That's the first thing. We need that money. We need to help this team continue to build around to get the best talent on the field. And you do that by giving Tua that extension as well.
I agree.
There you go. Let's read if we have any. Say what?
And I said, and everywhere you go, there you are.
That's right. Let's get through some of these comments here. I know I thought I saw one earlier I wanted to get to. Let's see. California, Bobby and Hank, do you think that we drafted this year, that the way we drafted this year will make an immediate impact and get us over the hump? No trolling. He's not trolling. He's just asking, do we think that this draft will make an impact on our roster enough to get us over the hump? And I would say the hump would be win us a playoff game. That's what I would say the hump is. My definition.
I would say going by strictly the draft, no. By our offseason moves so far, yes. I think that when they did the draft, they planned for both the future and now. They didn't just plan for one or the other. They planned for both, in my opinion, by the way they drafted. And I just think that there's more to come post June 1. And if Greer does some of the things I think that they need to do, which we all think the same thing, nobody's off in left field somewhere. We know it's safety, linebacker, and of course offensive guard. We know that those are the ones to look at. But I think that they're going to address some of that. I think they are. So I have to still give them credit.
Yeah, I will say, staying with the draft, I agree with Hank. We got to see how the offseason kind of plays out in the end in regards of getting over the hump. Immediate impact, yes. Chop Robinson, Kamara, Malik, and Taj Washington, Jalen Wright. I believe those are plug-and-play players. That's something that matters to me. The Cam Smith should have been a plug-and-play, but he didn't really play. But Channing Tindall, Easy-E, those guys were not plug-and-play. They were developmental. I would say that could be the case with our second-round pick, which, again, Patrick Paul, I don't hate that pick at all. It wasn't the pick I would have made at that point, but I understand it. Guy's 6'7", 6'8", he's a behemoth, 300-some-odd pounds. What I love about that pick, I'll say that before I talk about the other guys. What I love about Patrick Paul's pick is that obviously this was a pick by Mike McDaniel and Butch Berry. You got Terron Armstead, Kendall Lamb right there. You don't have to expect this guy to come in and play right away. He sits a year to develop behind these two guys, and especially Terran Armstead, one of the best at his position, and Butch Berry, what Butch Berry was able to do for Austin Jackson. Imagine what he can do for this young kid who's a monster, who has some elite traits. He is a developmental guy. He's a raw talent, but you don't have to start him right away. It's not like you're going to put him in there and throw him into the fire.
Yeah.
No, he's sitting back there. He's developing. Next year, when Armstead goes out and retires, more than likely, you can put in this guy right away, and he already has 1 year behind. It's like a rookie quarterback that back in the day. You let the rookie quarterback sit, you get the veteran to start. He learns behind the veteran, then you plug him in, and look, he has a solid career going forward. And that's how I see that pick. So I don't hate that pick. I would not have made that pick just because I would have got somebody else, another, probably a guy who I think is more ready. But I get it, and I don't hate it. And I think people are gonna like that pick and love that pick next season when you see what he can do after he comes. And we might see him sometimes this year, the way our offensive line gets hurt. But you're giving him time to grow. This is important. In regards to everyone else, California, I will say is that Jalen Wright's going to see the field. He's plug and play. Chop Robinson's probably going to start the season with Jalen Phillips or whomever if once Bradley Chubb stays out. But then when he comes back in, you're going to have that rotation. Chop Robinson, Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, and then Kamara, another plug and play player. That matters. Taj Washington, Malik Washington, I believe they will make the team. Again, we'll see how the final rosters look, and then the 90 whatever players. But I believe those guys they could have an impact. These are plug and play players. To me, that's going to make an immediate impact. So yes, I think they'll make immediate impact, but I agree with Fishtank. We got to see how the final roster looks to say it's going to get us over the hump. Who's our right guard? Who's our third safety? Is it Nick Needham? Is it Patrick McMorris, who we drafted, who's the only one I have a question mark really on? Is it and I'm not hating on, I'm just saying to be real.
Yeah, you got it.
Who's our third safety at that point? How do we stick with the same defensive line? Then that will get us over the hump. Pretty Boy brought up Skylar. I like Skylar. I think Skylar did well for us his first year. He was our third string last year. I'm concerned with our backup situation at quarterback. God forbid Tua goes down, even though Tua started the first time in his career, the whole season. If he goes down, are we going to really feel good about Mike White coming in at quarterback? I'm not. So that's what's going to get us over the hump. But let's wait and see. We'll probably get back to that in a couple weeks once we see more stuff come in. Manzano's in the house. Mom's there. Good to see Mom. Yep. The Florida Panthers are kicking ass in the playoffs. Love to see it. MDC, are we going to go the Christian Wilkins route and make him gamble on himself, make him earn it? Oh, are you talking about Tua?
Yeah.
I don't think so. No. And I that's one of my they like Jalen Waddle, they did the player option. They let Christian Wilkins play it out. The market out budgeted the Dolphins. The Dolphins can't match the market for Christian Wilkins, and now they've lost Christian Wilkins. And here we are talking about how they're going to replace Christian Wilkins. The thing is, this is Jalen Waddle. I think it's bigger for Jalen Waddle. If you let the market, which the market's going up, outbid you, you're going to lose Jalen Waddle. Tyreek Hill is closer to the end of his career than he is at the beginning of his career. Odell Beckham's here for a season. If Tyreek decides to retire next season and the season after, and then we lose Jalen Waddle, how's your receiver room going to look at that point? You know what I mean? So that's why I don't believe it's smart enough, especially when you're that type of player. We knew the faults of Christian Wilkins, but we know how good he was at his position. Same thing with Tua. We know Tua's faults. We know what he has to work on, but also we know what he is in this league. We know what he's worth to the rest of the league. We know what he's worth to the Dolphins, that if he goes out, the Dolphins are going to fall off the face of the earth in their season. So it wouldn't be smart to say, okay, let's see what he can do, because what if he gets hurt, you lose him and then whatever. Yeah, that's a different story. But if you let him, let's say he has a mega season and now you're like, hey man, we're going to give you this offer, but here's these, these outs in the deal. He said, no, I'm not going to out myself. I could get more money elsewhere. Now you're effed. Now you're screwed. So I wouldn't gamble on. I wouldn't let him gamble on himself. Let him play, work out the deal, get it done, and move forward. Same thing with Waddle. Waddle needs to be done. They need to extend Waddle and Holland. And Phillips. We'll read a couple more questions here. We got Anthony, and then we'll wrap this up, Fish Tank. Anthony Manzano says, Hank and Bobby, is it possible that we might see Patrick Paul start at right tackle from the beginning of the season and we push Austin Jackson into right guard? Fish Tank, I'll let you answer this and then I'll respond. What do you think?
I know that Paul is a big body, and I don't think you want to put somebody that's 6'7" in at guard somewhere. So, not with Tua back there. That might block his lanes a little bit. But, I don't think they're going to. I don't think they're going to put him at right tackle. And I think they're going to let him run his preseason, see how he does at left tackle, see where he can and can't back up, and use him at will temporarily. But I don't see him being big push and taking over right tackle. No, I don't see that. I think Jackson has got that spot now. And moving Jackson around has been his Achilles heel also. He needs something that's steady where he'll be able to perform. Jackson doesn't do well when we move him around.
So, yeah, and I agree. I don't think I do not think you're going to start Patrick Paul at right tackle to start the season. I think that would be unfair to him and not smart for your football team. Patrick Paul, again, is a raw prospect. He needs time to develop. Let him sit behind Terron Armstead and Austin Jackson. Let him be coached by Butch Berry to get the best possible player next season. We might see him start a couple games depending on injuries, but I'm not going to push him. Again, I don't want to – that type of prospect, you do not push into the fire. Sit and watch, get your starts in preseason, and then learn the bet from one of the best in football. Austin Jackson did very well at right tackle last season. Do not fix what's not broken. That's a huge mistake if the Dolphins were to do that. So, yeah, I would not do that, not one bit, not one how. I think Chop will be one of our hand in the dirt pass rushers and defense while Jalen and Bradley are stand-up pass rusher. What pisses me off is that we're not forcing this kid or star quarterback to maybe play on the franchise tag and prove that he's worth an extension. He's played 5 years. It's his 6th year now, I think, right, Fish Tank? Or is it 5th year coming up? Fifth year. So he's going on his 5th season. Last year, he was one of the top quarterbacks at his position. The numbers were off the charts. Of course, they stalled out, but the numbers were off the charts. The year before after that, one of the most accurate quarterbacks in football. Again, everyone knows my critiques of Tua. I'm not a Tua non, but I'm not a Tua hater either. He's the starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. I'm a Dolphins fan. I support the starting quarterback, but I will call him the hell out. Fish Tank will as well. But I think he's proved he's worth the extension. Is he worth a blind eye extension where you're like, hey, here's a 7-year deal, no outs, no bonuses, no whatever. We're giving you the full amount of money and we don't care. No, because he could stay on the field. He showed that he could stay on the field last year. He stayed the whole season. But throughout his career, he has not been able to stay on the field. I would not want to give him a mega deal, and then he gets hurt, and we still have to pay him all that money. You know what I mean? You got to take care of him. But at the same time, that's where my hesitancy is the health situation. That's what I was going. But Tua puts in the work every offseason. Every time we say, or anybody says, or the noise, I will say the noise, the outside noise. Oh, like last year. Oh, he's fragile. He can't get hurt. He gets hurt all the time. Concussions, etc. What does he do? He does the jiu-jitsu classes. People were making fun of him. He gained weight. He gained muscle mass. And then, what happened? He lasted the whole season. He was there every game. But now it's like, what was the downside of that? Oh, well, he wasn't the same mobile quarterback that we're used to. He doesn't slide. He's slower. He's too big. Blah, blah. So what does Tua do now this year? He slimmed down. He's working on his running. He's working on athletic ability. He works at it every year to try to be the best quarterback going forward, not for himself, but also for the Miami Dolphins. We got to respect that, and again, that to me, despite the flaws that are there, and we've called it out, I respect the shit out. I respect the hell out of that. He puts in the work. It has to execute. You got to put it on the field. You can't play 8-10 games and be one of the best and then be crap for the last 5 or 6, and then we fall into the playoffs or get eliminated. You have to put the whole record on thing. But let's call it as I see it. He's earned that extension, whatever it is. Let's just hope the Dolphins don't outbid themselves or whatever. Let's hope they give him a reason why. Let's hope that there's a deal that we all feel like, okay, I could see the writing on the wall. But no, he's worth the extension. Come on. The reason why, I'm going to say this last thing and we'll wrap this up. I'll let Fish Tank respond to this and we'll wrap up. The reason, this is Anthony Manzano again, Fish Tank, good friend of the show, always watching. We appreciate him. The reason why I'm saying he hasn't proved anything on his end, because of his end of the season performances and the playoffs have been horrendous. He is not deserving of an extension. He's been the one playoff game. So, again, but go ahead, Fish Tank. You can respond, sir.
You just hit the nail on the head. I mean, come on. Hey, you're basing this off of a defense that collapsed, off of a team that had half the roster was missing. I mean, it wasn't just the quarterback in those December games. Yes, he was a part of it. Definitely. He was a part of the problem. However, his overall play outshines that one playoff game, especially the past 2 years. You're going off
the whole picture here, not just. And I'm not saying Anthony knows this. I mean, and Anthony and I've gone back and forth. I respect Anthony's position. I get it, and it pisses me off just as much. Again, it's what have you done for me lately? Yeah, you look really good at the beginning of the season, but you got to show up when it matters. Those December games are basically playoff games. We get that, but that's a team thing as well. But Tua has to show up as well. Tua's made his mistakes, but his overall body of work deserves an extension. That would suck, Anthony, that if you go to work a 9 to 5 job and you're let's say you're a salesman, and from January to September, you are killing it. You're the number one salesman in your company. You're up for that sales manager job at the end of the year if you could just have 3 good strong months. Or you just got for the end of the year because of what your performance has been. Everybody's giving you the praise. Dude, you're going to be employee of the year. You get all this. And then the last 3 months, because of the pandemic or whatever circumstance, your company is struggling. No one's getting sales. You don't get those sales. You don't have those numbers. They don't give you that pay raise. They don't make you that sales manager. Dude, but my whole body of work, you're counting me on 3 months. We all struggled. The whole company struggled. Sorry, man. You should have been the one to get us over that, whatever. Think about it like that. His whole body of work has to matter. I'm with you. I have the same concerns. I have the same issues with Tua in regards of the end of the year stuff. But we can't overlook the team. Okay? And again, I'm not one of these people who go, all right, well, who's going to replace him? I hate that. I hate when people say that because we don't know what circumstances show up. We don't know what quarterback's going to be a free agent. We don't know whatever. But where Miami would be drafting next season, again, I don't know who's going to be there, but none of those top quarterbacks should be there. Carson Beck should be drafted way ahead. Don't tell me Shedeur Sanders. What I've seen from him, watching him so far, not interested in him. Who's better right now? There's no one right now. You got to go with the circumstance. You have Tua. Extend him. Have an out after 2 years if you're really that concerned for the Dolphins are that concerned, and then roll with it and see what happens. But his whole body of work has to count. His whole body of work says extension, what it is. Fish Tank, any final thoughts?
No, I want to tell you I'm happy that we're back out here again, and I'm ready to enjoy my day.
There you go. All right, yeah, we'll let you get to it. Guys, everyone, Anthony, Pretty Boy, Hammer Time, Will of 305 Sports Now, MDC, Aladino, Craig, Daniel, Finstanza, California, everyone, wherever you're watching from, YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, X, wherever you're watching, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. That's the one and only Fish Tank Hank. Catch him here every Saturday with me. I'm Bobby Finstock. Like, subscribe, most importantly, as always, Dolphin fans, fins up. We'll see you next weekend.